If you've ever tried to learn Java, you probably know the feeling, right? Before you can get to any of the fun stuff, you're hit with this wall of strange keywords just to print hello world. Well, with Java 21, that's all changing. We're going to take a look at how this huge update is tearing down that wall, especially for anyone learning or teaching the language. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about that intimidating first step in Java and really unpack the hello world problem. Then we'll get to the good stuff, Java 21's simple solution. We'll clarify that it's a tool for learning, see how it fits into Java's bigger path to simplicity, and finally look at what this all means for the future of learning Java. For decades, the very first program most people write in Java has also been a major roadblock. It's this weird moment where something that should be simple, like a greeting, feels incredibly complicated. And honestly, it can give new programmers the completely wrong impression right from the get-go. I mean, this slide just says it all, doesn't it? On the left, you've got Python, one line, simple, intuitive, you can guess what it does. On the right, you've got traditional Java. To do the exact same thing, you need a class, a main method, and this whole cluster of keywords that mean absolutely nothing to a beginner. This is where the frustration starts. So let's really dig into this. We're going to deconstruct why this traditional Java code has been such a massive stumbling block for people who are just starting out on their coding journey. So look at this code again. The one thing you actually want to do is buried deep inside all this boilerplate. A beginner just wants to learn that system.out.println prints a message, but to even get there, they have to navigate this minefield of concepts they haven't learned yet. The first hurdle is what we can call ceremonial keywords, words like public, class, and static. They're absolutely essential for Java's powerful object-oriented structure, for sure. But in a first lesson, they're just noise. They add this heavy mental weight before any real programming logic has even been introduced. And then you've got this little piece, string array args, trying to explain command line arguments and what an array is to someone who hasn't even managed to print text to a screen yet. It's a huge distraction. It's a concept that's totally out of place in your very first program. And this all leads to that phrase that pretty much every Java instructor has had to say, right? Just don't worry about that for now. Just type it. We'll explain it later. But it's really hard for a student to just ignore something that's right there on the screen, creating questions and confusion from the very start. But now, with Java Development Kit 21, there's a simple and honestly, a really elegant solution. So let's check out the brand new streamlined way to get started. And there it is. The difference is just striking. The new way on the right gets rid of all that ceremony. There's no class declaration, no public, no static, no string args. It's just the main method and the print statement. This is a complete and total game changer for teaching. Okay, but it is super important to understand the right context for this new syntax. This isn't about throwing out everything we know about Java. It's a very specific tool that's designed for a very specific purpose. So, here's the bottom line. This new, simple syntax is perfect for learning, for training, and for writing small scripts. Its whole goal is to lower the barrier to entry. But when it comes to building large-scale, professional, production-level applications, you're still going to want that traditional syntax. Its full object-oriented structure is what you need for organization and scalability. So how does this magic work? Well, under the hood, Java is still Java. It just cleverly creates an invisible, unnamed class to wrap your code. You can think of it like a hidden container. And this allows the main method to be an instance main method, which is the trick that lets us get rid of that confusing static keyword in these simple cases. Now, this big leap forward didn't just happen in a vacuum. It's actually part of a much larger, very deliberate trend by the Java team to make the language more approachable for everybody, especially newcomers. A few versions ago, we got JShell. This is an interactive tool, a REPL, which stands for Read, Val, Print Loop, that lets you just type and run a single line of Java code instantly. It was really the first major step toward letting people experiment quickly without all the ceremony of a full class. Now, JShell helped with the friction of writing code quickly, but there was another little hurdle in the learning process, the two-step dance you had to do just to run a program. First, you had to compile your source code into something called bytecode with the Java C command. Then you could run that compiled code with the Java command. And this slide shows the fix. With the modern source code launcher, that whole two-step process is gone for single files. Now you just type Java followed by your .java file name and it compiles and runs in one go. It's another one of those small but really significant changes that just smooths out the learning curve.
All right, let's get to our final section and see how all of this comes together to build a much more welcoming and honestly, a more effective future for Java education and for new developers.
So, what are the big takeaways here? Well, first, Java's Hello World is finally as simple as it is in languages like Python. That's huge. This dramatically lowers that initial barrier to entry. But most importantly, it lets instructors and students focus their early lessons on what really matters: programming logic, problem solving, not just memorizing confusing syntax. It proves that Java is actively evolving to be more welcoming to the next generation of coders.
And that all leaves us with one final pretty important question. For years, Java has had this reputation for being powerful, yeah, but also kind of verbose and difficult to get started with. With these recent changes that are focused directly on the learner's experience, is that long-standing reputation finally about to change for good?